about today. Top 5 coming your way after 5 o'clock. And Bears now, there's more coaching drama. But on the Super Celebrity Hotline, a man who really does fit the definition nicely, Mr. Al Roker. You know him, you love him from the Today Show, the After the Today Show, the Weather Channel, the Today on the Weather Channel, everything known to man Al has done. And now, Al, let's just cut right to it, shall we?
Sure.
Last week, a lot of press about when you were talking to your colleagues at the Today Show about your experience at the White House, and because you've had the gastric bypass surgery, and you had a moment where you thought you were passing some gas and you didn't, and it was bad at the White House. You had to throw your underwear out. Two things emerged from that. Were you surprised at how big that story became? How viral that went?
Well, nothing today ever surprises me. But, the good news is it got the word out about gastric bypass and about how dangerous it is and what the side effects are. And, and I wrote about it in my book, Never Going Back, the idea that for me, it was kind of the bypass was the last effort that I needed to try. But I also tell people that, look, this is a dangerous operation. 1 in 200 people die from it. I don't ever recommend it to people. And so, it got the word out, which is great.
All right, so when you did it, let's talk a little bit about that part. All right, when you did it...
that part I'm done with. I'm moving on.
No, I'm done with the surgery.
The surgery.
The surgery concept. When you did the surgery, and now I get that, I understand that.
Okay.
I think we're all kind of done with that part of the story, Al. No offense, but when you made the decision to do the surgery, why did you decide that the surgery was the better outlet for you for that?
Because I had done every diet or taken every step known to man. I did Jenny Craig. I did Nutrisystem. I did Weight Watchers. I did Sugar Busters. You name it, I did it. Didn't work, and I thought, this is my last resort. And I had promised my dad, he was dying of cancer, and he said, look, I'm not going to be here to help you raise your children. I need you to swear to me right now you're going to lose weight. And, that kind of brings you up short, and you think, I better do something. And, he was, after that day, he was gone 10 days later.
Ooh.
And, my wife, who's a correspondent in 2020,
right.
She had done a couple of stories about gastric bypass, and I'd always poo-pooed it or avoided it.
There you go again.
There you go. I decided to look into it more seriously, and I made an appointment. And on March 15th of 2002, I had the surgery, and never looked back after that.
Al, it's Richard Roper. How are you?
Good, Richard. How's it going?
Good to talk to you. You mentioned in your book, too, and I think this is something that a lot of people in your position can relate to. I mean, it's very much like a dependency where other people have maybe on alcohol or smoking cigarettes, where, a family crisis would occur and you'd fall back into the old habits. It's that right. Comfort. It's that, that go-to thing. And then, of course, after you indulge, there's the self-loathing and the guilt that comes along with it as well.
Oh, you sound like you've been there.
Well, I've been there reading your book. I've been there.
Okay, all right. Okay. It wasn't a judgment.
I understand.
But you're absolutely right. In fact, I had the bypass. I went from 340 pounds to 200 pounds and kept it off for 8 years. And then my mother got sick. And over a course of 3 months, spending 2 hours a day round trip in a car and 3 hours a day in a hospial, I fell back on my old habits. And
but how can you? I mean, I'm sorry to interrupt, but how?
Because you again, a popular misconception about the bypass. You can eat through a bypass. Carney Wilson has had 2 of them. You can, by eating very calorically dense foods. Well, 2 things happen. Your body, the human body is an amazing machine. It adapts. So even though you've got this stomach that's half its size, it stretches. The stomach starts to stretch if you push it, and by eating softer, high calorie, dense foods, you can eat through it. And I gained 40 pounds of the 140 I lost. I regained it.
Wow.
And I thought, you know what? I lost my dad. I lost my mom. I didn't have any control over that. I got control over this. I'm not going to lose this battle. So I was very fortunate in that I was able to put some, I met a buddy of mine who had actually lost some weight, and he ended up, he did a cleanse and a new kind of way of working out, and I thought, you know what, I'm doing this. And in 28 days, I lost 28 pounds and kept going, lost the 40. And I'm never looking back at this. I've had some family crises and things like that, and have come through it now.
No, I've heard you say this before though, and I wonder if was there pressure on you because you're sort of the jolly weather guy, right? And you're known as the people accepted you at a certain size, at a certain weight. Was there pressure from your fan base, your emails, whatever it was, to go, no, we don't want the thin Al Roker. We want the heavier Al Roker.
It's funny. I had about a week ago, I had a guy come up and he said, I got to tell you, I thought you were funnier when you were fatter. And I said, yeah, and I thought you were smarter till you opened your mouth.
Oh, well played.
The funny isn't in the fat. The funny is in the person, and that's what I don't think. What's been really great is I go out, I do the weather outside the window there, and people to a person, it's like you look so terrific. God bless you. Thank goodness. We're so happy for you. Most people get it, because they, a lot of those folks who've been out there have been there, and the message of the book isn't, hey, follow what I did step by step, and you can do this too. Because everybody's got to find their own path. The idea of the book, the story behind the book, the message behind the book is, you know what, you got to put yourself first. You've got to make that decision to take that first step, whatever that path is. Hey, Weight Watchers works for you, good for you. But everybody can lose weight. Almost everybody can lose weight. It's the keeping the weight off that really is the key, and that means you have to. It's no longer a diet. It's a lifestyle. It's no longer the first thing that goes on your schedule is your workout. That's the last thing that goes. And making that commitment, and that's what really for me, was the turning point.
What do you do to work out?
I ride my bike to work. I work out with a trainer 3 days a week. I found this it's really
rides his bike to work, and he lives actually in central Connecticut, so it takes him
good ride.
4.5 hours.
I start the night before, and I eventually make it in. No, I'm about 5 miles from work, so it's not that bad. But it's one of those things where you just you get and you decide what you're going to do and what's important for you. People would rather go to a dentist appointment than work out. And my job is, I realized, is I've got to do this. I've got to make this a priority. If I'm not good for me, I'm not good for anybody else. I can't take care of my family.
Now, how do you feel about you did the gastric bypass surgery and you did it on television, but you didn't do it at that in real time. You did the story later, a couple of months after you'd already done it, and you had to make sure that you'd gotten through it all right. But then, it didn't exactly work for you. Do you have is there any recrimination about doing that surgery in any way?
No, not at all. And no, it worked. I mean, look, the surgery, I lost 140 pounds. Even with the 40 that I gained, I still was down 100. But, I then took the other 40 back off again. So net, I'm still down 140 pounds. No, but look, I had no regrets. And if I had to do it over again, I would do it in a heartbeat. But, like I said, it's not for everybody. And people have to make sure they find the right surgeon. Look, the fact of the matter is, and this isn't a referendum on gastric bypass, but there is no board certification for gastric bypass. As long as a hospital gives a doctor space to operate, he can say he's a bariatric surgeon.
Yeah, and there's and there are some, and you got the Jesse Jackson Jr. story, which is it seems to be a component to all the things that have gone sideways, at least a part of it, not the whole story, but that seems to be at least part of that story too. So there are positive stories, like any kind of surgery. There are positive stories and negative stories.
Absolutely. I hear 1 in 200 people die. It's probably the number is even higher since there are so many more surgeons doing the surgery. But 1 in 200 people die from this every year. From complications.
Well, I know you'll appreciate this, Al, as a weatherman. We have to do the traffic and the weather first on the 5s right here. Can you hold on with us, or do you have to run? All right, hold on one second.
Al.
Back with Al Roker right after this. Al Roker is joining us on the Super Celebrity Hotline. His new book, it's very interesting, Never Going Back, and it's about his struggles with weight loss and gastric bypass surgery and all that, and that's where that story last week came out of the discussion of that.
And Al, among your 8,000 duties, and by the way, people should check out Al's website as well as his book because it's a lot of fun. There's a lot to find out all about the different projects he's doing. You got the Today Show team. You guys were doing the red carpet stuff at the Golden Globes on Sunday.
Yes.
And, tough assignment for you talking to all those insanely beautiful people. And I'm talking, of course, about Bradley Cooper and George Clooney. But anyway.
Of course.
Al, can you give us a little insight? Obviously now, everybody's talking about Jodie Foster's speech. And was it resonating that much instantly? Or is that one of those things where there's been a ripple effect the last couple of days?
Well, I was in the back in the one-on-one areas. So, I didn't.
You weren't in the room.
Yeah, I was not in the room, but everybody seemed pretty excited about it.
I think people are still working through it. I think they've sent it to the United Nations and they've got the interpreters working on it. And they're still trying to figure out exactly. I know she was trying to say something. We think we knew what she was trying to say, but we're just not exactly 100% sure. What is the? Yeah, go ahead.
It's all good. Hey, I'm in here. I'm doing Steve Harvey, and one of the great broadcasters of all time, Larry Word, is standing outside my dressing room. I'm so excited.
Tell Larry Word that he can pound sand. Just tell him.
He owes both of us money.
The guys on the Roker, they say you can pound sand. That's the nicest thing. He said that's the nicest thing you said about him in a long time.
We said he's a sound man.
Oh, you said sound man.
All right, you two kids, go have some fun. Say hello to Steve Harvey for us as well. Thanks very much, Al.
Hey guys, thanks so much. Have a great day.
You too,
talking to
Al Roker.
Bye.
Okay, traffic and weather.
Mr. Wart.
Larry Ward.
Kevin Matheny around the corner?